This man never expected that with just a light pull on the door handle, he would accidentally tear it right off, but he swore he hadn't used much strength. If anything, he blamed it on farming. That very morning, he had finally maxed out all of his farmer-related skills, everything from soil turning to crop cultivation. But when all those simple abilities combined, something unbelievable happened. His once ordinary status panel had changed completely. His attack power had jumped from 70 to 70,000. Jack didn't really understand what that number meant. Compared to that, selling his vegetables in town the next day felt much more important. So, the next morning, he set off chewing on a carrot from his own field, but fate had other plans. He looked up and saw a massive dragon soaring through the sky, while a group of knights below struggled desperately against it. As a mere farmer, Jack knew he couldn't help much. Still, even if it was only for a moment, he wanted to distract the dragon somehow. He threw his carrot at it, but the moment it left his hand, the carrot transformed into something like an intercontinental missile. Before the dragon could even react, it exploded into pieces. The three warriors below were stunned. What kind of artifact could destroy an S-class forest dragon in one single hit? Jack, too, was dumbfounded. Was that dragon fake? He thought, unaware of what had just happened. He simply shrugged and continued toward town. Clearly, selling vegetables suited him better. By the time the three dragon slayers reached the scene, all they found were deep wagon tracks leading away. Meanwhile, Jack had already entered the city, but trouble seemed to follow him everywhere. He spotted a man holding a young girl hostage in an alleyway. Instinctively, Jack jumped in to help. Before he even realized it, he had landed beside the girl and pulled her to safety. The bandit was shocked. He had underestimated his opponent. He barked, telling Jack to back off if he didn't want trouble. But before the man could finish speaking, Jack effortlessly dodged his attack and threw him over his shoulder. The guards rushed in to arrest the stunned criminal. Everything had happened so smoothly that it looked almost rehearsed. But inside, Jack was panicking. It was then he noticed something new on his panel. A see-through skill. The girl thanked Jack for saving her, but before she could ask his name, he had already run off. She didn't even know who her savior was. At that time, Jack was simply heading to the market to sell his vegetables. If he arrived too late, he'd miss the buyers. He still had to water the fields later, after all. Soon, he reached the city gate again, but this time, the guards stopped him. Confused, Jack was about to ask why, when the girl from before appeared. She explained that she was actually the first princess of the capital, and that she wished to invite him to serve the royal family. Naturally, the pay would be very generous. Faced with such a tempting offer, Jack didn't even think. He refused immediately. He only wanted to go home and tend to his crops. The princess, however, wasn't discouraged. If Jack agreed to join the royal court, she said, she would grant him 10,000 square meters of farmland. That made Jack pause. Why would a princess go so far to recruit him? Curious, he asked. The princess explained. Ordinary people had a power level of around 50. Adventurers averaged 130. Knight captains reached 600. And the legendary hero stood at 1,000. Then she asked Jack what his power level was. But that question was never answered. Jack didn't dare reveal it. Just then, three familiar figures arrived at the gate. The guards seemed to know them. They carried a strange crystal in their hands. They proudly announced that it was the drop item from an S-class forest dragon. Though, truthfully, they hadn't been the ones to slay it. All they knew was that a wagon had passed by right after the battle. The details matched Jack perfectly. The princess instantly realized it might have been him. But before she could react, Jack was already gone. She didn't give up. She planned to track him down. But before she could, a messenger arrived with terrible news. A massive horde of monsters was approaching the capital. They came from all races, and according to reports, they were led by the demon General Romeo. Apparently, he had learned that the hero was dead, and saw this as the perfect time to strike.